their only purpose is to make money. And it's like, hey, if you want that, great, but you're really not adding any value. And it has to find its end somehow. Stop trying to do what I've seen on YouTube and like mimic somebody's personality, and was like, okay, how can I do this in one take? Ideas are really valuable, but they need to go through a trial by fire. This high is great. Let's celebrate it. But just know, after this, it's going to slow down. You should blow up once, and now you're scrambling to figure out how to make a brand how to make a business out of that one video. It's so overwhelming.
Being a business on YouTube is probably one of the hardest social medias to crack when you're a business. However, it can be one of the most beneficial. You can get so many leads, you can build connections, you can do everything that all of these gurus are saying and create high quality videos that you have full control over. However, it's working with the right people. Now, thanks to the power of algorithms, just this time over on LinkedIn, I got chatting to Ethan Hale. Now, Ethan has helped out many businesses grow on YouTube through a 9-to-5, but also as a freelance strategist. And he has some really interesting things to say that could help not only you as a creator, but also your future business grow on the platform. When I sat down with Ethan, we both had some really interesting conversations and some very interesting thoughts on the platform as a whole. And he gave some really interesting insight on how we should be looking at your favorite creators.
Hey, Jess.
Hi, Ethan.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing well.
Good.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to answer some of these questions that you sent me over. And you, the theory of YouTube, is that just like something that you've been working on yourself, or?
Yeah. For just over like a year now. It started off as like a little passion project of just, I have all this knowledge of YouTube and marketing.
Yeah.
It's not big in the UK in terms of like YouTube strategists and things like that. Whereas in the US, I know it's a huge, huge business. Over here, it's not something you see like agencies over here, and they're like, we do Facebook, we do Instagram, we do Snapchat for these big influencers, but they don't do YouTube. So there's a huge gap over here that I just saw, and I was like, I'm just going to give all my knowledge away for free.
Yeah.
Because if people see it as like, oh, this is what she gives away for free.
Right.
When I start charging like paid, they'd be like, what is she going to give paid?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I feel like the industry over here is probably, like you're saying, a little bit more established, and there's room for strategists. But the people I come into contact with, they're very skeptical still of strategists. I mean, because there's a ton of people online that are like advertising, hey, this is the best way to run YouTube. This is the best way, like do this, and this. But it's hard to really believe it when the only use case scenario they have is the YouTube channel that they're showing you. Like the YouTube channel that they're using to say, hey, this is how you do YouTube. That's just like, there's just a lot of people out there that are like saying, oh, this is exactly how to do it. And a lot of the information is correct, but I feel like the way that they go about it, it just gives a bad rap for YouTube strategists.
It does. And I feel like a lot of those people out there are like, oh, this is how you do it. But to learn how then to do it a little more, buy my course. And then it's like, oh, but to learn how to do it a bit more, buy the next course. And then it's buy the next course. And I'm like, just tell them how to do it. Like, it gives you a bad name. And it also then that ripples down to all of us. And it's like,
right.
Oh, great.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it does leave enough room though to fill in that gap in like the trust building department. And that's the thing that I enjoy the most is, I mean, just the relationships we get to develop with people, the clarity that we get to have through calls, and like the excitement that I see for a channel, and being able to see that transformation by the end of a call of them, like if they were discouraged at first, being able to get excited again about posting and realizing, okay, there are good practices, there are people that know what they're doing, and there are people that are willing to like put in time and effort into building that relationship side of things, because that's the most important.
Good. I feel like we've come from a similar place with YouTube, because you were at a property, like a roofing company from... Yeah, you did theirs, which I can imagine is a very niche and difficult clientele. Yeah,
and it was a cool opportunity. It was a cool opportunity because I got reps in of doing videos and stuff, but it was there were some bottlenecks and things like being a one-man team regardless is tough. Like doing your own YouTube channel, very, very hard. And doing a YouTube channel when you're not passionate about the topic, even harder. Even harder. Well, like times 10. So
I get that.
That was the journey.
I get that. I was working for a property investment company in the UK.
Yeah.
Their YouTube channel is all about property education, for people who want to get into buy-to-lets that want to be hands-off and get an agency to run their buy-to-lets, and then like educating people on that and the whole financial cycle in the UK, comparing it to the US market. Yeah, some days I was like, I am done with life.
I think that's another thing for people who are getting into strategy. If they are confident in their knowledge, it took me a while to realize, okay, just because I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted for this channel, even though I saw that potential, like what you're saying, doesn't mean that the knowledge is not there. Doesn't mean that the drive to make a YouTube channel successful isn't there. It's just like not the right niche, or maybe not the right equipment, or not the right budget. There's bottlenecks that I just need to realize, hey, that wasn't great for me right then. We're gonna move on. Like, it was a good experience. Here's what I learned from it. We're gonna go to the next thing.
I feel like that's such an important thing too, for like, especially like now with TikTok too, the transition of younger influencers coming in from short form content, and then being like, oh, I want to do long form. And they're like, they just jump in because they're like, oh, everyone does YouTube and it's like better money and stuff like that. And I'm like, let's just, slow down.
Yeah.
Because if you're going straight from short form to long form and you're just going to do what everyone does is daily vlogs, and then it's like, you've got to make your life interesting.
Right.
And you being 14 and still at school is, I don't care. I'm not bothered.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of people that I feel like go through that transition, and it's tough because it really is a different ball game. But I feel like YouTube's been at the top of the industry for the longest time, just because of the consistency with like advertisers and making sure that there is money in long form. And even before shorts, like there were other mediums that people were trying to utilize, but everybody knew like, oh yeah, if I'm on Instagram and I'm trying to build that brand, I'm gonna have to be on YouTube to make it like big time, make it full time. So YouTube's just gained that credibility and that reputation of just being consistent enough. And like there's been the great purge of like where all the advertisers pull out. They've bounced back from it, and creators have stayed on there. And so there's things that people need to do for their business to make sure that they're owning that audience as well. Like I'm sure you've seen, like newsletters are always great. Podcasts are a good way to build like those relationships. Like it's a lot more than just like the organic discover page. It's like they're coming back for you. So
I mean, shorts didn't help them with that initially, let's face it, when you'll probably know that it broke everything when they launched it, because they got that threatened by TikTok and they launched it 5 months too early. I wanted to actually talk to you about this, completely different to the questions, which we'll get to like in a second. The kind of content cycle that you see, like the main creators on TikTok, the ones that are sustainably growing but keeping that audience, are the ones that implement skits, whether it's into their daily lives or doing skits on a topic. And it's interesting to see, like, that's how YouTube got its name. That's how a lot of the big YouTubers got their start. And then that faded out and it went to daily vlogs. And then like Casey Neistat came in and changed all that. I just wanted your facts on like content cycles and how stuff does just go around in different forms.
Yeah, I think we're getting to a point where content isn't going to cycle as much. I mean, it's going to cycle. The pendulum always swings back and forth. There's going to be content that stays at the top, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of people resonating with this kind of content right now. But I'm hoping that as people build out their audiences, they really just see like the average viewership continue to increase slowly and gradually, and it stays stable. I think with that, you're looking at relationship building. That's what you're prioritizing. You're making sure that your personality is showing through YouTube videos. Long form, I think, needs to be prioritized, because shorts, it's a different audience. It's a different attention.
Completely.
Go on shorts to find somebody to like keep up with. I'm not going to like, unless they really actually astound me with the information that they have. It's just really pertinent to what I'm going through at the time. Maybe there's like some sort of person building a PC. I'm like, oh, I'm actually looking at building a PC right now. All of them, what they're doing, and then I resonate with their long form. Then I'll keep up with them. But otherwise, it really is just like whatever the algorithm kind of feeds me. It's like, okay, I'll look through it a little bit, and it's that quick dopamine hit. But I think we're starting to see popular. I mean, Mr. Beast is gonna stay at the top. That's just how it is. Like,
I mean, not in SEO at the minute. Let's face it. You put Mr. Beast in a title at the minute, and you're gonna.
That's true. That is true. I think that the pacing and the way that he's done videos will stay very pertinent and relevant. And like, I think you almost have to view it now as like music. There's going to be pop music, and there's going to be a lot of people that resonate with pop music. They're not going to keep up with artists. And then there's going to be more niche like genres that people really enjoy. And they just find, oh, I enjoy listening to this on a drive. I enjoy listening to this day to day. I'm going to keep up with this certain artist. And I think that's how it should be viewed, because the music industry has been the most profitable. Like
Oh yeah.
the value of making music, you're going to watch one video once, probably maybe twice if it's really good, like with a friend or something. But
Yeah.
with music, you're going to listen to it over and over and over again. So I think we are getting to a point where we almost need to look at the music industry and be like, okay, what can we learn from how does it be profitable? How do I make something that resonates so well that somebody's going to come back and watch it 3 times, maybe? Like, I mean, 2 times is the first goal. Is like, okay, I hope they show this to a friend. Like, I want them to be able to like experience this with somebody else. But like 3 times would be awesome as well. Like, it's just like steps along the process. So all that to say, there's going to be stuff that's going to stay popular. I think we're going to see a swing back into like vlogs and things like that. We've seen the YouTube new wave trying to push that. I think it's actually starting to come back a little bit, where people are seeing top of funnel, like, oh, I connect with this type of editing. I want to slow down more. I feel like I've been rushing my whole life. I feel like I'm always just like doom scrolling. And so that content is going to do well, and be at the top of popular content. I would say so. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's really just a matter of like, okay, how can I build out my niche for people that want to stay long term? You know, how can I capitalize on trends to bring in, like, cast out that wider net, so that the audience I have that actually wants to stay, they're like, oh wait, I really enjoy the other content that they make. Let me subscribe. So yeah, the cycle always happens. It always happens. The pendulum always swings back and forth. But it's I feel like it's easy then for creators to be like, oh, I want all of these views. And not build up their niche as well, which is where the strategist comes in. And it's like, hey, these are all the things that I feel like you need to set up for success. Like, you're paying attention to this, all of these views that you really want. When you need to be paying attention to, what does your branding look like? What does your editing style look like? What gets you excited to post? Like, there's a lot of like foundation that needs to be filled in to then be able to say, okay, this is my structure. I can tweak it a little bit to go for popular content or go for trends, but maintaining the focus, because people just, there's a lot of creators that just go willy-nilly at the thought of views, and that's just not good for long term.
I think the one person that comes to mind with that is Brent Rivera, like how his content is just copying everyone else, and that's been his whole career. I mean, fair play to him. He's made a whole career off of it and stuff. Because I remember back when he was on Vine. That's how old we are. We remember Vine.
I would say for his goals, he's done well, and the goals are relevant. It's monetization. It's getting money. But as far as actually building an audience of people that enjoy his content, everybody on YouTube that can actually comment on a YouTube video that don't have age restriction, that are not like 5 years old.
God, I know.
Like, we don't resonate with this. This guy is not what we want on YouTube. And it shows like all the other creators don't enjoy being around him. Like, he gives off this vibe. And there's going to be people like that. There's going to be people that don't want to connect with creators, and their only purpose is to make money. And it's like, hey, if you want that, great, but you're really not adding any value. And I feel like long term, that has to find its end somehow, because it's just not going to go past you. Your reputation isn't going to stay. Like, at the end of the day, in 20, 30 years, however long it takes, when Brent's done posting, nobody's going to look back and be like, oh, he was really influential in the YouTube space, and I really liked his stuff. And it's not going to be that. It's just going to be like, it's gone.
I feel like we see a lot of influences like that. I also think a content style that's, I think, really prevalent at the minute is the documentary style. Those long form, gritty documentaries. I think, though, with those, it's definitely not younger audience. I'm talking 20 to 30s in that demographic. When you're at work and you just want some entertainment on, but you don't want to get caught with like Netflix on or something like that. And I think Netflix has a big part to play in that. With that documentary style coming in. And I feel like Mr. Beast videos, how he edits them now, when he's doing like these surviving 30 days in a cave, I think is like one that's coming up.
I saw. I think you just posted that one a few days ago. I watched that one.
Yeah, their editing style is really now like, it is more like a survival documentary than I'm sat watching this screamy, shouty guy in the first 30 seconds going, I have to survive 30 days in here and stuff like that.
Right.
Like you said, everything goes round in cycles. I think it also depends on the audience type. When Gen Alpha get to this age, I mean, Lord help us all, but whatever content they're going to be, I hope it just comes with subtitles that actually translate what they're saying, because
won't be able to keep up.
How do you think YouTube has like changed the marketing game?
YouTube has been at the top of the chain, where people are thinking, okay, monetization, what platform do you go for? I think YouTube has been at the top for the longest time, which helps them a lot. Just to be able to say, we have consistency, we have people that are here full time. Honestly, I think it's the fact that they did position themselves so well with long form content. When vertical started getting big and every platform was pushing it, including YouTube, it still drew attention to, okay, now that I have all of this audience, now that I have this reach, where do I go? And the answer has always been YouTube. So I think it really was it. Yeah, some of it was on YouTube's part, but it really is just the landscape of people have been pursuing vertical video, prioritizing it, and since YouTube knows how to get advertisers and long form works for so many people, it's just it's a no-brainer. It's like, first step is get your reach and audience with vertical. Second step is let's keep monetization going and actually develop that audience with this long form. So yeah, I think it's been actually, I don't want to discredit YouTube, but I feel like it's been every platform just pushing video that has benefited YouTube. I mean, it really is. The idea of developing a personal brand or developing a company brand and getting your voice out there has been pushed more and more, and people are now realizing, with all of the numbers that they're seeing, it took a while. Yeah. All the numbers that people are seeing, they're saying, okay, vertical content and video content is where I'm going to get the most reach. And yeah, like I said, it's a no-brainer. The next step is, how do I keep money coming in? How do I increase revenue so I can then invest more in these videos and bring more people back to watch again and again and again. So YouTube's consistency has been unmatched.
It really has been. I think also, personally, what I see is, you see these big influencers, especially on Instagram, before stories, before reels, not shorts, getting them all confused.
Yeah.
People wanted that human connection. And with Instagram, with it predominantly being images, and then stories came in, so you got like that little snippet more of behind the scenes, but the audience was like, but I want more. It's very much, I feel like, audience dictated.
Yeah. It being free, obviously, is a big selling point. It doesn't cost you anything at the end of the day to post a video, and it can bring returns. And that's what people want to see, is like, okay, if I can actually make money on it, now it's just a matter of getting better. And so, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Do look, I think people see short form as like, oh, because of TikTok, I'll just do it. But I always say short form is for your reach. Short form is now your shop window. When you're walking past a store, that's like that's your short form content. That's what you want to hook people in with. And now, because the algorithms talk to each other, thank you, YouTube, for fixing it.
Yes.
When people see your shorts, they're then going to see your long form. So yes, your thumbnails are still important, but I think in terms of reach, your short form's your shop window. That's what you want people to get hooked.
Yeah.
And then you got to go through, I don't know, someone else when you come and be in the thumbnail of this store.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that also touches on the last question, where it's like, okay, yeah, this is your shop window, but when you think of it as a business, which it is, you're thinking, oh, top of funnel. Now you're using terms that people in marketing are like understanding. Oh, I know what top of funnel is. It just looks different. The tools that we're using are very different now. It's a matter of what is the best tool to use. And so that's why also YouTube, they thrive there, is because it's like, yeah, the shorts, that's your top of funnel. Long, that's your next. It's like, okay, we're bringing them closer, getting to the creator. And then you go into that newsletter or podcast, and then really try to figure out how to even do like a subscription based to get people to like invest in the things that you're doing. Especially like that's why you need like a mission as well. And that's why the goal of YouTube shouldn't be just to make money, because then people aren't going to go down that funnel. They're not going to want to follow along.
Why do you think YouTube often becomes the preferred platform for content creators over time?
I think it just goes back to how to make a sustainable business. And that's the easiest way, and it's free. And I think everything else takes a lot of work. I think setting up a newsletter, setting up a website, setting up a podcast takes a lot more effort in people's minds. So the barrier to entry is lower. And I think that's why we see people go to TikTok immediately, because the barrier to entry is zero. Like people are really shooting on their phone, and videos still do well. So people are like, oh, I could do well too. And then the next level is YouTube. And I feel like it is a next step up. You do need better quality and intentionality with it, but it still is that free platform to post videos and make money. That if you really are able to get a strategy down, then you can make consistent and passive income. It takes a lot of investment up front, and everybody knows that. But once you get it running, it'll run for a while.
I feel like it takes a lot of income, maybe not so much in equipment now, because you can still shoot on your phone. Use the back camera, please, not the front camera.
Yeah.
But it's like this right now, this is through my phone. So you can do that. I feel like the income side of it is your time with YouTube. YouTube is like where we see that kind of like you said, TikTok's quick. You can do it on your phone really quickly. But YouTube's that one where you're like, okay, I got to sit down. I got to focus and get it done. And I think that's why the rise of editors has been so high, because people are like, okay, I'll film it, but I don't have the time to edit it. But I feel like it's be there. Yeah.
It all comes down to how much time you have and what you're choosing to invest in it. And if you can't afford an editor, or if you feel like that time is your limiter, then you're going to ship it off to an editor. But if you have more time, like I always encourage people to be able to do it themselves, like for a while.
Oh yeah.
Learn each step of the process, and then that gives you a better understanding of how YouTube works. And it just helps you grow in general as a person, as a business person, personally in your own life, and then for YouTube as well.
Yeah, I think with the time stuff as well, like you said about learning skills, like learn to edit. You can hire an editor, but learn it. Then with times when you come to need an editor because you're there going, right, I have a meeting, I have this to write, I have a podcast to record, I have this and that video needs editing. You can then go, okay, this is what I like, or we need a specific transition here. You understand that a little bit more. And I think a big thing that's so missed with any influencers and businesses on YouTube is spending that time in the back end and learning how the analytics actually work. Because now they're lovely presented. But you will remember when it was all just the line graphs, which now you go into detail view and you see it. But that was what it used to be like on the back end. It was all these graphs, you had to figure out stuff. And now you have a lovely funnel to say how many people dropped off at the end of it. And you're like, why couldn't I had this 10 years ago?
Yeah, definitely.
The 5 biggest lessons you've personally learned from doing YouTube or being in the YouTube space.
I would say one of the biggest ones recently has been kind of, not indirectly from YouTube, but through having knowledge about YouTube and really understanding it and loving it for what it is and that platform and how you cater video to it. Actually being able to post that through writing has been incredible, because it's like I know exactly what I know. I know it's good knowledge. I've tested it in the past, and I'm confident in it. So now it's just a matter of how do I showcase that to people? How do I break that down to show these steps and like not use too big of words to confuse people, and be able to have it come across as simple and effective. And that's, like I said earlier, like LinkedIn and writing in general has been a great way for me to organize my thoughts and be more confident when I'm on the phone and things like that. So like it's indirectly, because it's not like actually the process of making videos for that one, but if I hadn't developed the knowledge of YouTube and had the desire to show people the knowledge that I have and help people grow, then I wouldn't have started writing. And that's something that I really enjoy. So indirectly from YouTube, it's been a ton of fun. So that's one.
That's one.
Great for 2. I think what you touched on for camera.
Yeah.
Speaking of camera, helped me a ton, actually. Like I feel like that is a skill, maybe not underrated. I feel like a lot of people understand that it's hard to talk to a camera. If you've sat down and actually talked to a camera and tried to be entertaining, it's hard.
Those first videos that you film, even on like TikTok, I see these people that like start TikTok and they're like, I don't say it's the millennials, but because they haven't grown up with it in your face, and it's like, they're like, hi guys, like, well, it's this, and I'm like, just talk to it like it's your best friend. Like, whenever I start my TikToks, I mean, like, I don't do like TikTok strategy or anything like that. I just see my TikTok as like a video blog dump of my life, and if you want to join the ride. If not, scroll on. That's what it's there for. And people have said, you're so natural talking to camera. I'm like, because my phone is my friend. My phone hears. I know the microphones listen. They say they don't, but they do. The amount of horrible pictures it's got of me, my friends, and everything. Like, at this point, my phone is my best friend because it's been there through it all. So why you're there going, it's a piece of technology, it isn't, that much of a different thing to it being your best friend.
I think that the most that I've grown on camera is actually when I stopped trying to do what I've seen on YouTube and like mimic somebody's personality, and was like, okay, how can I do this in one take that makes sense for me? Like, how can I take the least amount of footage here and try and do this in one take? And it's like, okay, being genuine to myself and trying to talk to the camera like it's a friend has helped so much. Like, sometimes I'm like, okay, let me just laugh before I start talking, because I already know it's going to be more natural. I'm going to feel more loose. So I'm just like, I'm laughing at myself, and then I just start. And then once I start, my tone is already up there. Like, people already sense the energy without a big force. And so that's helped a ton. And then therefore, I guess number 3 then would be interacting with people with like coaching. When I have other talent on camera, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do? How can I prompt them to give me certain information that I know will be good for the video, and without them feeling too uncomfortable. And so there was one time it was recently, I was talking with a guy at work, and he's a general manager, and he had information about a job that we were doing, and it was like a give back to the community. This person was in need of a roof, and so I was just trying to get that on footage of him explaining exactly what it was. And before I even started, I was like, I know this guy's gonna be a little weird, so let me just start recording on the mic.
And you can spot them a mile away. They're the ones that, they're not the ones that look away from the camera. They're the ones that like give it the biggest side eye. Because I'm now at the job I'm in, I am the videographer, photographer, I'm the lot. And the ones that are like, they're not the ones that cower away. The ones that cower away, I'm like, I'm not even going to go near you. It's the ones that are like.
Yep, exactly.
It's out.
So,
oh no.
I literally was like, let me start the camera. Let me start the phone. Let me start the mic. And then I went off to the side. I said, listen, I want some more information. I was like, this is for me, so I don't even work with the camera. Like, I just want some more information. So I was just asking him questions and having conversation. I talked a little bit too much, like in between of like giving him validation. I'm like, yeah, I understand. But for him, that's what he needed. I was able to like isolate the audio. So at the end of it, basically I asked all my questions, and I told him, okay, that wasn't actually for me. That was actually for you to have that top of mind. All your brain should be organized with what we're talking about now. Let's try it on camera. He goes, oh, that was actually pretty smart. So we did it on camera, and it was definitely better than what I imagined. But the first take was like of him talking to me while it was rolling was so much better. Like, he was very confident. He was very relaxed. And he's just like, okay, I'm talking to somebody here. And so through knowing how intimidating a camera can be, I've also learned how to interact with people and coach them in front of the camera. And so whenever I work with people and they're like, oh, I'm afraid to be on camera, it's like, don't worry about it. Don't even think about the camera. You and I, this is the connection right here. This is all you need to know. We're building a relationship. If I find something interesting, I'm going to be able to ask you questions. So I guess that goes into number 4 of like being able to identify what would be interesting information for somebody who is not actually in that environment and in that industry. So roofing is tough because like the roofer is going to be like, oh, I have years and years of experience and years of knowledge. Most of it he's going to think is boring.
Yeah.
But to some people, day in the life, that's going to be very, very interesting. There's going to be certain parts of it. Maybe you're doing a DIY project, or maybe you're just looking for more entertainment, and roofing comes across your page. You're like, oh, I never even thought about roofing. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, that was actually pretty interesting. So I'm able to then identify, okay, what is interesting content, and how can we dissect this to make the most content that we can without stretching it too far to make it bland. Yeah. And so that's another skill that I've totally been able to pick up on. And I think that's helped with editing as well. And my own personal brand of what would be interesting to somebody else. And I'm sure you've probably experienced that too.
Oh, yeah. From doing the property stuff and like, so from the property stuff, we used to animate the videos. So there'd be like a person to camera, but then like we'd have graphs and stuff. Or like when the host, Rob, was, because it was him in the videos, because he has like a huge property portfolio. So he'd film it and then I'd basically do everything else.
Yeah.
And he would be like talking about, I'm trying to think, like equity releasing and splitting funds, and how like if you have 500K to invest, you can then split buying one property for this, and then buying one property for 200K that you're going to live in, that's yours, but then splitting these other ones down the line and animating it in a way that isn't just this guy going, this is that, this is how really the economy works from in the UK start to finish, that it's made on a spreadsheet, that is literally how money comes in, and all of this, and animating it in that way that's like still engaging. The top view video on there is like a new bill came in for like renters reform in the UK.
Okay, yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
Talking about property law is another thing, but it's finding those ways to then understand it yourself, because like imagine you've been there to see, you've got to understand what this roofing actually means and why it's why it's a triangle, for not just for runoff but for strength, and it's different joints are used for different things. Like I don't know, but I don't.
Yeah.
So you know it, then because then you have to understand it to then explain it to your audience, so then they find it entertaining. Really, that is something that YouTube opens your mind to, and I feel like that's where doing YouTube in the 9 to 5 is so valuable, because like I said, I've been in property, you've been in property, it's completely different sides of it, but now you know that, well, if you want to explain something that's really boring, we can use this many strategies, I know we can do this, boost that engagement, because it's about roofing.
Yeah, exactly.
Financial cycles.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, it does take a different side of the brain, and I don't think it's just like natural to people. It definitely is something that you have to work on and really understand, okay, what strategies are working. And it's like, okay, what have I seen other people do that maybe isn't even related to this? How can we tweak it? How can we change it, make it more entertaining? And I feel like I guess that can lead into the final big lesson is ideas are really valuable, but they need to go through a trial by fire.
Yeah.
They need to, like, I enjoy putting ideas up, and I have a lot of friends that are idea type people, but without putting them through a trial by fire and really test, well, one weaning out the bad ideas, truly, and then 2, testing the ones that you think that are decent. There's not value there. The ideas in and of themselves, if they're just, hey, this is an idea I had. I'm sure you've had people say this, where like, oh, you should do this. It's like, okay, yes, and you sit there politely and you just listen.
Okay. Yeah.
I have people in my life that do that, and I'm
especially
like,
just going back to like the roofing, just because it's something like we can both relate to. When they go, oh, I've just seen this person on YouTube, they've just done this, and I've done really well. Why can't we do this too? And I'm like, well, because they're talking about it was like the Ryan Trainer or like a Mr. Beast. It was something that's like, oh, this video's done really well. We can do that. I'm like, okay, you tell me how you envisage doing that on the budget that we have. But speaking on those, like finding those good ideas in trial by fire, Mr. Beast is such an archive of videos, which I think anyone should go through, because the first video I saw of Mr. Beast was, I think, watching It's Everyday Bro for 24 hours. And it was just him sat there, and then it was saying Jake Paul 100,000 times.
Yeah.
And it was just him sat in his chair doing this. And I think he said, it was creator support or like the Colin Samir podcast. He was like, no one's going to believe that I actually did it.
Yeah.
So why not do it? And like giving away, like the giveaways came from the £5,000 to a homeless man, what was it, 10 grand? But it's doing those videos that might work. They probably won't. Or they'll work for someone else, but not you.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning. Like whenever, for businesses, anything, just do it. Like, it's a call Nike out, but do it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think some ideas also, you might think that they're dumb, but part of you wants to try it. And yeah, I would say post it, because there's been a few videos that I posted. I'm like, oh, that's not going to do that well. And it does really well. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And I think that's where people will start to think, oh, YouTube's luck. And I think it's a mix. I think it's showing up and being consistent. And then some of it is luck. Like some of it finds the right audience for a certain video, and then it does way better than all your other videos that you put more effort into.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be. And figuring out how to ride those highs and lows is very, very important. I think that's where strategists come in and say, well, or at least on my end, I feel like with strategy, you're building that relationship, but you're also like providing coaching to a certain degree and providing that second opinion of like, I'm able to validate the rough spots that you're feeling. I'm able to validate, hey, this isn't easy. Let's figure out how to go about this systematically and treat it really as a business to free up your brain to be creative and excited and things like that. So it's like, it's good to have somebody on your team to be able to say, okay, this high is great. Let's celebrate it. But just know after this, it's going to slow down.
Yeah.
We're going to have to continue with our strategy. We're going to be able to do some fun things here and there. But trying to stay consistent, it's tough. I feel like that's why a lot of people would quit, is because of those, it's high highs and low lows.
Oh, it's high highs and lows. I just did a blog post about it, and I called them outlier videos. And I used the example of, say a channel's average is 200K, and you get that one video, that hits 1 million. Great.
Yep.
Your next video is not going to be 1 million. Your next video, you might be 500K, because that ripple is still there.
Right.
But those outlier videos are great, and they're a great example of how to look through your channel and go, oh, that did well. Can we rehash that concept? And like Mr. Beast did it with it was like 100 boys versus girls. But I think the first one, they did really, really well. Or like 100 parents versus kids, but it's that same concept. A little tweak each time. And it is that finding that outlier. Okay, that one did extremely well. I mean, Mr. Beast is a very crazy example to look at because his budget is huge.
Yeah.
I think that leads nicely into the last question. We've talked a lot about how YouTube can impact your business. Long-term, positively. Short-term, it's a slog. It is hard work.
Yes.
So, stick at it. I feel like a lot of businesses, a business that sticks out to me, and you were saying about that's not going to do well, posting content. I did a LinkedIn post talking about the Skims YouTube channel.
Yeah, for businesses, like you're saying, it's a slog. And it really is. And it's just a matter of like, how much time are you willing to invest? And can you find somebody that is also willing to invest? It's not like if a business owner really wants to find somebody who is passionate about YouTube, it's going to be very hard, I feel like. I think it'll get easier as time goes on. But it's just a matter of, hey, we're going to commit to this for 5 years, 3 years, whatever it is. It needs to be a long-term approach, because you're going to have to test things, and not everything's going to work, and not everything's going to hit. And sometimes you might even need to scrap a channel. It's just not working. Like the thing that you're doing is splitting your audiences, the people that show up, then you have a next video that's not even relevant. It's very tough. So you have to have somebody that knows what they're doing, but the impact that it can have on business, I mean, we've seen it time and time again, like, especially if you have a product business, it's insane. You don't have to do any more ads anymore. Like you're just strictly organic. It blows people's minds that they don't have to actually pay to promote things.
Oh God, I know.
And it's incredible. Like, I mean, the impact that people have seen is insane. The numbers that you're seeing, the actual like visits to your website, if it's done right, it will change your life forever. And that's just a fact.
I'm going to quote that. That one's being taken.
There you go. That works.
I know. We both, I think, clearly can see that YouTube and content creation is the future of entertainment. I think a lot of people don't know this. In the US, so you might know this actually, YouTube has a TV subscription service.
Yep.
And it comes in Spanish too, which I was like, love that, because you guys have a big Spanish ethnic speaking country.
Yeah.
That is nowhere else available. And I think YouTube is going to be the future, because you get all of your cable channels on there for, I think it's $59 a month. And that subscription has not gone up in 5 years.
Yeah.
And if you're a premium subscription to YouTube, I think it's $49. You get like a tenner knocked off.
Yeah, there's like some discount. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
such a British saying, a tenner knocks off. Because you
Yeah.
get like $10 knocked off. I think YouTube is definitely gonna move into that space of be like, you can get like the NBA on there as well. Like you can get all of your sports stuff. And I'm like, give it
Yeah.
to me. My VPN won't allow me.
It's really incredible. I'm sure you've seen a few people post about it recently, but YouTube should sit there double digit for view time on TVs. They just get
Yes.
10% of all platforms watch time on TVs,
Yes.
which is insane. And I think that's really showing people even more so that yeah, traditional television has worked in the past, but now it's time to change things up and time to look at YouTube to even advertise. Like, I mean, yes, developing a YouTube channel is great, and I would recommend that. But also advertised on YouTube and make sure that
Yeah.
you're showing up where people are doing it. Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed. 10% is crazy. I think they might have hit 11. I'm not sure, but they hit the double
Can't
digits.
remember the start. It's crazy. And you're seeing now, I think Netflix are falling behind so much. And I'm like, whoever is doing their marketing, I'm like, please just give it to like the YouTube strategists. Like I feel like they're saying, give it to us, get a team of us together, and we'll change everything. Because you see some stuff they do, like their stuff with the Olympics, wonderful. The Olympics wasn't really advertised, but Netflix did it in the way it's like, okay, we're going to give you documentaries on sprinters, on the Simone Biles one. And then most recently, the comedian, has got another special.
Yep.
And it's just crowd work because that's what he's known for. And I feel like that's where they messed up with his first one. Plus his jokes were controversial.
Yeah.
But that's where they messed up with it. He's known for his crowd work. We've never seen a special that is just crowd work.
Yeah.
They'll promote it as that. Like,
yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I think playing to people's strengths, being able to utilize people in a unique way is the only way that you're going to be able to set yourself apart. And yeah, I think Netflix needs to work with more people that are very, very evident in their social presence is there because it will draw more attention. Like Netflix is not the big name anymore. Like, I mean, people, yes, there are some people that are like, oh, to have a Netflix special or some sort of movie or something would be great. I would agree. Like I would put that as an achievement for sure. But it's not like the main goal anymore. It really isn't. Like the goal is, I feel like there's a bunch of goals mixed into one. But I feel like YouTube has stayed at the top of the goal list for many people for a very long time. And being able to monetize that well is the goal. That's like if you have a YouTube channel that's successful, you've made it. Like in everyone's eye, you've made it. And that's where it's hard once you get into the strategy initially because you're having to change your mindset up. This video didn't get millions of views, they aren't making it. It's like, no, that's not true. Because other people are getting less views and they're generating traffic to maybe their websites or product or whatever it is or their services. And they have made it in their eyes too. So it's like not making sure that you're not thinking the biggest videos are the only ones that have made it, that the biggest channels are the only ones that have made it. Lower the barrier to entry in your mind. Be like, oh, there's other people that have monetized successfully a 10,000 subscriber channel. Like they're doing it well across different avenues using other social platforms and things like that, but they're making a living for themselves and they've made it and it's only going to grow from there. So it really is a perspective shift.
I think I absolutely agree. I say like some of the channels that I get the most value from as a consumer, that's a big thing too. Be a consumer of YouTube. If you're just going into YouTube because I want to be a YouTuber, don't start. Don't, because you're not going to get anywhere. I feel that like my goal is to be a YouTuber. You've already failed. Your goal shouldn't be that. It should be like to be a consumer. I can imagine both of us combined consume so much YouTube and the changes, and everything, and it allows us to help other people.
Yeah.
But I think the creators that get the most value, long term, aren't the ones that you said with millions of subscribers and millions of views. It's that range of 10K and I'd say honestly to about 450,000 subscribers. Those are the ones that the watch time's higher, your retention's higher, your click-through rate is higher because your audience is smaller and is more engaged with you as the creator and not just watch it for entertainment. I think Mr. Beast is so far out there now that it's like he's in his own, he's his own strategy,
Right.
He's his own thing. And I feel like a lot of these smaller creators always compare themselves to him.
Yeah.
Or Ryan Trahan's another really good one, or Casey Neistat. Like there's so many people that the names pop up that change the game and I'm like, oh well, actually you're actually more like this football or soccer. Sore point.
Yeah. I understand.
YouTuber like James Lawrence Alcott. I think he's on like, I mean, to get like 300k or like 500. It's like 300 to 500k range, and his content has such a high retention. And he says it. He's like, we're growing consistently slowly, and I love that phrase. Like consistently slowly, and not just having a huge influx of people going, I like you for this, and then never seeing them again.
Yeah. YouTube is a journey. And I think the people that grow slowly are the people that really succeed. And really, like, if you were to post a video where you are at in your own personal journey right now, and it were to blow up, and that is validating everything who you are at this specific moment, you're not going to grow, or you'll grow slowly. But yeah, the people that really have to work hard at YouTube and get better at making videos and growing their audience and engaging with them, and they have that higher retention, they have that higher click-through rate, those are the people that are continuing to grow and like really establish that consistency and discipline that YouTube requires, and they're going to succeed, and they're going to make it their full-time job for the rest of their life. Whereas you should blow up once, and now you're scrambling to figure out how to make a brand how to make a business out of that one video. It's so overwhelming. It is so overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming, and you're not gonna succeed. Like, it's just not. It sounds harsh saying that, but I've seen it. Like, some of my friends have gone viral on TikTok, and they're like, "Oh, cool! That means now like I can move over to YouTube." And I'm like, "Have you gone viral because people like you for you, or have you gone viral for a video?" And they're like, "Oh, I went viral for one video." It's like, so why are you moving?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Exactly. Well done. You got lucky with the algorithm. TikTok, I have to say, I think TikTok is so much luck over anything else now.
It's a volatile work. Yeah, it's a volatile
place. I think Shorts is getting there too. I'm not going to deny it. I think all short form content is. Short form is like pulling that roulette reel and just going.
Right. And the subscriber that you get from short form is not the same quality to subscriber that you get from long form. Not at all. It really is two separate games.
Completely. I feel like so many people don't get that either, that it's two separate games.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember, go follow Ethan on all of his platforms. I will leave all of his information either on screen or in the description for this video. And if you're a business that's struggling to grow on YouTube in America, please go check him out. He will be more than happy to help you guys grow.